Have you ever found the perfect used car online, rushed to the dealership, and then watched the price magically jump by thousands before you even reached the finance office? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In 2026, negotiating a used car isn't just about getting a discount anymore. It's about protecting yourself from hidden costs that can quietly turn a great deal into an expensive mistake. The good news? Once you know the tactics, you can flip the negotiation in your favor. Imagine spotting a used SUV advertised for $30,490. The price looks fair, the mileage is low, the reviews are solid, and after a successful test drive, you're ready to buy. Then the salesperson slides a worksheet across the desk, and suddenly the total isn't anywhere close to what you expected. Instead of paying around the advertised price plus taxes and government charges, you're staring at a figure that's thousands higher. This is where many buyers make their biggest mistake. They focus on the monthly payment instead of the total cost. Dealers know that if they can shift your attention away from the final amount, extra charges become much easier to hide. That's why the first number you should always discuss isn't the monthly payment. It's the complete out-the-door price. The out-the-door price includes everything you'll actually pay to drive the vehicle home. That means the vehicle price, taxes, registration, title fees, and any dealer charges. If you don't know this number before negotiating, you're negotiating in the dark. One of the most common tactics involves adding fees with impressive sounding names. You might see documentation fees, certification packages, inspection charges, preparation fees, security packages, protection plans, or delivery charges. Some of these costs may be legitimate. Others may simply be additional profit wrapped in official sounding language. For example, a dealership might advertise a competitive vehicle price, but later add a costly dealer certification fee. They may explain that technicians inspected the vehicle or completed maintenance before putting it on the lot. While those services certainly cost the dealership money, many experts argue those expenses should already be reflected in the advertised selling price, not introduced later as a surprise. Another example is a destination or transport charge on a used vehicle. Unlike a brand new car shipped from the manufacturer, many buyers question why transportation suddenly appears as a separate line item after the advertised price has already attracted them into the showroom. Salespeople often justify these charges by explaining that the dealership had to pay to acquire the vehicle, whether through an auction, a trade-in, or a transfer from another location. While those costs are real, they are already part of the dealership's overall business expenses and are typically reflected in the vehicle's asking price. When a separate transportation or destination fee suddenly appears during the paperwork, it's reasonable to ask for a clear explanation of exactly what the charge covers. If the dealer cannot provide a convincing answer or documentation, use that moment to negotiate. Instead of arguing over the fee itself, ask them to reduce the vehicle's price by the same amount so your total cost remains unchanged. The lesson isn't that every fee is dishonest, it's that every fee deserves an explanation. Here's something many experienced buyers do before they ever leave home. Instead of driving across town based solely on an online listing, they contact the dealership first. A simple phone call, email, or text asking for the complete out-the-door price can save hours of frustration. If the dealership refuses to provide it, that's valuable information. If they provide a total that's dramatically higher than the advertised price, that's valuable information too. Either way, you've learned something before investing your time. Now here's where many negotiations go wrong. Some buyers walk in determined to win by making demands or issuing ultimatums within minutes. While it's understandable to feel frustrated, turning the conversation into a confrontation rarely improves your position. Negotiation works best when both sides are discussing facts rather than emotions. Ask questions. What exactly does this fee cover? Is this required by law or is it optional? Can you explain why this wasn't included in the advertised price? Which charges are fixed and which ones are negotiable? These questions force transparency without creating unnecessary conflict. And remember something important. Not every charge can be negotiated. Government taxes, registration fees, and licensing costs are generally fixed. Complaining about those usually wastes time. Dealer-added products and discretionary fees are often where negotiation has the greatest impact. Here's another mistake buyers make. They negotiate one fee at a time instead of looking at the entire deal. A dealership may remove one charge but increase another. They may eliminate a protection package while quietly increasing a certification fee. On paper, it looks like they're making concessions. In reality, the total price barely changes. This is why experienced buyers focus on the out-the-door price, rather than celebrating individual discounts. The out-the-door price includes the vehicle, taxes, registration, documentation fees, and every additional charge combined into one final number. By comparing only the total amount you'll actually pay, it becomes much harder for a dealership to shift costs from one category to another without you noticing. Whenever a salesperson presents a revised offer, take a moment to compare the new out-the-door total with the previous one, instead of looking at which individual fees disappeared. A genuine concession should lower the final price, not simply rearrange the numbers to create the appearance of a better deal. That's why you should always compare one number. The final out-the-door total. If that number isn't improving, the negotiation probably isn't either. Now here's something that surprises many first-time buyers. Sometimes the best negotiation strategy isn't negotiating at all. It's leaving. Walking away isn't about creating drama or trying to pressure the salesperson. It's about recognizing when a deal simply doesn't make financial sense. If the numbers don't align with your research and the dealership refuses to explain or justify the added costs, there are usually other vehicles available elsewhere. In today's market, inventory may still be tighter than buyers would prefer, but that doesn't mean every deal deserves your signature. And here's the part most people overlook. The dealership also knows you have options. Polite, informed buyers who understand pricing often receive far more respect than buyers who appear confused or desperate. Now, before we get to the final strategy that can save you thousands, consider this. The dealership has likely negotiated hundreds or even thousands of deals this year. You may only buy a vehicle every several years. That experience gap is real. The way you close it isn't by becoming aggressive. It's by becoming prepared. Research market values before visiting. Know what similar vehicles are selling for. Understand common dealer fees in your area. Have financing arranged ahead of time if possible. Know your maximum budget before emotions take over. When you arrive informed, the entire conversation changes. Instead of reacting to numbers, you're evaluating them. Instead of hoping you're getting a fair deal, you're able to recognize one. And perhaps the most powerful phrase during any negotiation is surprisingly simple. Can I have a printed breakdown of every charge? When every number is written clearly in front of you, confusing explanations become much harder to hide. Transparency benefits everyone. To be fair, it's important to remember that not every dealership uses questionable pricing tactics. Many dealers advertise honest prices, explain their fees clearly, and work hard to earn long-term customer trust. Those businesses deserve recognition because they make buying a car far less stressful. The challenge is knowing the difference before you commit. Buying a used car in 2026 isn't about finding the cheapest advertised price. It's about finding the fairest final price. The smartest buyers don't get distracted by flashy discounts or persuasive sales pitches. They focus on understanding every pound they're being asked to pay. Because that's where real savings happen. And here's one final thought worth remembering. The next time you're handed a worksheet across the sales desk, the negotiation isn't over when the first numbers appear. In many cases, that's when the real conversation finally begins. If you found these negotiation tips helpful, give this video a like, subscribe for more practical car buying advice, and turn on notifications so you never miss future money-saving guides. And I'd love to hear from you. What's the strangest dealer fee you've ever been asked to pay? Share your experience in the comments below.